this huge pool of spells, and he's kind of cool. Just more, and actually, hopefully I'll remember to put this in the description. But Morel actually discussed Invoker in a thread, and it was really cool to watch. But anyway, Edgar's kind of similar because his auto attacks change depending on what spell he just used. And the idea from this came not only because in the game he's a machinist, so he has all these different little gadgets he can use, but also I had this idea for like a Space Marine parody kind of character. And, you know, Space Marines are a very prevalent thing in video games, all the way back to Doom. Doom was a sci-fi game. You played a Space Marine, you killed zombie Space Marines, all the way to now you've got Warhammer, Halo, etc. Which means, you know, there's a lot of room for skins. They could have similar skins, but not really rip off anything, but they could poke fun at things. And basically he would have like a pistol, a machine gun, a shotgun, and a bazooka, and he would cast a spell, and it would change what weapon he was attacking with, and they all had different properties, and that's what I kind of took with Edgar. And, you know, his passive, after using an ability, Edgar uses that weapon, changing his auto attacks, as well as giving him additional passive properties. So obviously, he can theoretically be played as different roles. And I don't know if you heard, but on stream I mentioned I love Gangplank because of that. You can play him different ways. You master one champion and you can fulfill several different roles. I love champions like that. His Q is auto crossbow. He basically pulls out the equivalent of a machine gun, but it's a crossbow, and he just sprays it out in a cone, kind of like a volley shot, Ash's volley shot, but there's no slow. And he gains critical chance the longer he stays in the form, increasing with rank, and his attacks are now ranged. So now he can be an AD carry. His W is Bioblaster, and basically what he does is he puts on like this hazard suit kind of, but it's all metallic, and he gets his arm cannon, and he can shoot out this noxious, disgusting green gas. And it does magic damage and damage over time to enemies in front of him. His auto attacks are melee, and he just kind of uses the butt of the gun to hit enemies. And it does a little dot. But he gains increased like all the damage he receives is reduced by like a 3%, and he gains armor and MR. And I don't think it'd be both. It would be one or the other. But basically now he can be a tank, tanky kind of AP, because the ratio on that would be AP. And then his E is Chainsaw. And this ability was really cool. Basically what Edgar would do is he'd put on a hockey mask and pull out a chainsaw. And it was more like a one of those, you know, the ones I'm talking about where you put it down and then you push the wood through, with a circular blade. And it was just like this metal thing with a circular blade attached to it. That's what it looked like. And he would just go to town on somebody. So he equips the chainsaw, and he just shreds into an enemy for massive damage or damage over time, and it would probably play as slow as well. And basically Edgar gets Bloodlust while he stays in this form. It increases his damage output, but also the damage he takes. So essentially you become a melee kind of AD carry, if you needed that. And his ult, which remains unnamed, basically would take all of his current tool passives he has and double them. Or would take them all at the same time and apply them or something, I'm not sure. But it would the initial idea would it would double all the passive he has for a certain amount of time. So, you know, if he's auto crossbow, he would get increased natural crit. Bioblaster, he would get more resilience, he'd be tankier. So it's kind of like Alistair's ult. And Chainsaw, he would get increased damage, but damage received. So it's kind of you got to kind of think about it. I mean, do I really want to ult while I'm in Chainsaw form? Because, you know, all the damage you're going to take is going to end up getting increased. So something to think about. And the final one is the Kappa. And if you don't know what the hell a Kappa is, Kappas are these creatures in Japanese folklore, which are basically these like turtle men who hang out in rivers, and they drown people. Which sounds like Koopa, who are the turtle enemies in Mario. I'm sure that's where Miyamoto got the idea, and that's a little terrifying when you think about it. In the context of Final Fantasy VI, though, there was actually a two-pronged kind of thing with the Kappa. the Kappa shows up like once or twice as a actual character, and he would basically give the party a tutorial. I can't remember which part it was, or if it was more than one, but he gave like a little tutorial. And it's also the imp effect. He's actually an imp, but he's named Kappa, and I don't know if in the Japanese version he was actually a Kappa and they named him Imp in the American version. But Imp is a status where a spell's cast on you and you turn into this little imp, and like your stats are kind of reduced, and I don't think you can use any magic or anything. It's a status ailment. But and I have to explain this in the context so you understand what his passive is referencing. But there's this set of armor called the Imp Armor, and whenever you equip it, you get like this massive stat boost as long as you're in Imp form. So it's one of those weird things where it'd be actually beneficial to be in Imp form. It's kind of funny. But his passive is called Set Bonus, and Kappa gains additional bonus stats from items. He also gains a flat 10% from all of them when all 6 of his slots are full of non-consumable items. Which is interesting, and it would change, like, 10% with all 6, it'd be like 4 if you only had a couple, that, like that. So it's beneficial to have every single item slot full of items, so, it'd be beneficial for you to hurry up and buy, those item components so you can get a little bonus instead of waiting it out, just saying, oh, I'll buy, the Ghost Blade whenever I have all the money or something, you know what I mean? And basically how it works is I call him the anti-support, and basically all of his abilities are meant to troll the enemy team. He can be played as a support, but he's like the anti-support because he doesn't support his allies, he just messes with his enemies. His Q is Imp Glare. Kappa glares at an enemy, stunning them and doing magic damage if they're facing him, or giving Kappa a speed boost if they're facing away from them. So it's kind of like Cassiopeia's ult, except it's a chaser if you're trying to chase somebody down, or it's a little stun if you're facing somebody down. So it's kind of two-pronged. Imp Touch. Kappa touches an enemy champion, reducing their attack, damage, or ability power for a few seconds, or it'd be both. Again, it's just a little debuff. Not very interesting, so if he were to become a real champion, obviously I'd probably change that. E is Pal Maker. Kappa sends an enemy into a berserker state, causing them to attack their nearest ally for a few seconds. Again, that would have to be changed because it'd be considered anti-fun probably, but still, I'm not really expecting, Freak to be watching this be like, I've got to send this immediately to the champion design room. His ult, and I love this, is called Imp Song. Kappa opens one of his mouths, which is a reference to a Penny Arcade comic, singing a song that does not end the earth, but instead causes all nearby champions to dance. So it's sort of like Sona's ult, but wait, this gets good. Okay. After they're done dancing, they are inflected with random debuffs if they are enemies, and random buffs if they are allies. Yeah. So that can be a real game changer, because suddenly your entire team has attack damage buffs, attack speed, ability power, cooldown reduction, and you could have either it be existing buffs or debuffs. Suddenly, 2 of your guys have a Baron buff. I don't think it'd really do that, but or their cooldowns refresh. So suddenly Morgana has her ult again. Suddenly the enemy's team, all their cooldowns are suddenly, or one of their guys, all of a sudden everything's on cooldown again, which would really suck if they were playing Sejuani or something. Something like that. Just a silly thing. I have a couple more, but this is already going to be a 2-parter, so I'm going to end it there. But, yeah, it's a 20-minute video. I'm going to have to split it up into 2 parts, I think. But, so now, I pose the question to you. If you were to design a champion, what would that champion be like? Be that entire movesets, lore, arts, whatever you've got, send it. I'd love to see it. And I will be picking the best submissions and putting them, or not putting them up, but reading them aloud. And yeah, thanks for watching. Make sure to subscribe to the SmiteClub YouTube channel, like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter at SMCLop and at SmiteClub. And yeah, I'll see you Tuesday, hopefully.